What's up, everybody? If you are running a field operation business on Dynamics 365 field service, you know the morning ritual. Work order comes in from various places. It can be service agreements, it can be IoT alerts, it can be calls, it can be CSRs just putting the work order on the dashboard. Somebody opens this schedule board every single morning. They start dragging and dropping this based on their institutional knowledge, which can be like, who is the right person? Does this person have a skill? Are they in the right territory? What all is happening ultimately in their head is what is reflected in the dispatch board. And here's the thing, Dynamics knows all of this information. So in the Dynamics, you might have set up your territories, you might have set up all your skills, preferences, etc., team members. Every single piece of information on a work order also lives in Dynamics. So it just doesn't, it's not like who decides who should go at a particular place, but it's also the data layer that Dynamics operates on. Now, to be fair, Microsoft is using all of this data in their schedule assistant, for example, where the schedule assistant will suggest a resource ultimately that it's booking, but the problem is it's booking one at a time. So if you go to Copilot and on the sidebar, for example, you say in the Copilot that, hey, help me schedule this board, or like plan a schedule for me, it's gonna say that, hey, what way you want it planned ultimately. But here's the thing, for most dispatching operations, it's not as simple as just reorganizing the calendar. It's way more complex ultimately. There is something called as RSO, which is resource scheduling optimization, which does the real optimization, but it's an add-on that runs on a schedule in batches, and tuning it to a specific project can be a complicated task. And also Copilot's new scheduling agent is genuinely interesting as the first step ultimately, but it's very early and it's more for just meetings, simple work order scheduling, etc. What we built for FieldCamp's AI dispatcher is for more complex enterprise dispatch operations who are on Microsoft Dynamics 365. They just want to automate their dispatching process. They want to bring in efficiency based on route optimization, right skills, right certification, right zoning, who is the right person for what job. That is what FieldCamp's AI dispatcher is meant for. Now, there are few things that FieldCamp's AI dispatcher does that Microsoft's dispatching assistant or scheduling assistant cannot do, and this is going to be a game changer. So first of all, FieldCamp's AI dispatcher, well, what I'm looking at is the FieldCamp's interface. Once you integrate Microsoft into FieldCamp through the marketplace, it's pretty straightforward. So what happens is you will just click on this free trial button. It's going to open a pop-up because I've already connected my account. I'm just not going to click on it. It's going to open a pop-up asking for my permission to connect both things. Once I connect the Microsoft account to the FieldCamp account, FieldCamp is going to pull all your team members, first of all, who are the team members, what addresses do they have, etc. Then it's going to also pull all the territories, zones, every single information which can affect the dispatching decision is going to be pulled by FieldCamp ultimately. Then once the information is pulled, I'm just going to head over to the settings over here. Then there are a few things which happens once this information is pulled. So the first thing is the team management, wherein the teams all members would be added. Thing that you need to do, because Microsoft accounts usually don't have it, is the skills. You need to set up the skills based on who from your team can do what kind of a job. Now, skills and certifications inside FieldCamp, they can be of various types. So in Microsoft, this is not possible, where you have hierarchical skills like level 3 technician can do level 2 and 1 job, level 1 cannot do level 2 and 3 jobs. So you set up all these skills, you set up all these job types ultimately. So FieldCamp's team can help with that. If you want to our help to setting all this up, you can just go to the marketplace listing and book a demo with us. But once the job types have been booked, because your enterprises, you can have various units doing various kinds of jobs. So you want a big list of job types, what skills are required to do all kinds of jobs ultimately, so you can dispatch at skill, not just around like 20-30 technicians, but 50, 100,000 technicians. And then you can have the equipment as well, because Microsoft doesn't have this feature where, let's say you are a tree service company and you need a bucket truck to just remove one tree ultimately. Now it's a shared equipment. For 3 crews, you are not going to have 3 bucket trucks, you have 1 bucket truck. one crew's usage affects other crew's usage. So if you have those kind of scenarios where you need to dispatch based on the equipment and how does the equipment handoff happen, then FieldCamp's AI dispatcher that can do that as well. And Microsoft doesn't natively come with this. So these are a few setup level things. It takes hardly 30-40 minutes for a basic account with 10-20 technicians, or enterprises. FieldCamp's team is here and they can support you within 1 week. You can have your entire dispatch process which is fully automated end to end. Once you set up the job type, skills, etc., you can head over to team members. You can have each team member say what skills they have first of all, and then this is another feature which Microsoft doesn't have, which is multi-day travel. Now if you are an enterprise operating on Microsoft field service, then there is case that your technicians might do multi-day travels, or if your salespeople need to be scheduled or nurses need to be scheduled, etc. on Microsoft, and our AI scheduler needs to be used for that. For this multi-day travel, how the travel happens is like this. Let's say you start from Orlando, let's say Atlanta. From Atlanta you go to Orlando, from Orlando you go Miami to Keys and come back to Atlanta. But how the dispatching works is the day, for example Monday you start, where you stay in hotel Monday decides the route and the job to be done on Tuesday, because Tuesday morning, let's say you are in Atlanta, you are going to travel to Orlando, you are going to reach there in evening, then you are going to do the job, then you are going back to another, which is third ultimately option, which is Miami. So these kind of complex dispatching, which we call day chaining for multi-day travels, is only possible inside FieldCamp. Once you do all this setup, that which is job dispatch, service area, so you can add service territories, that in this region only these people can go, and this region has these 5 zip codes which they service ultimately, and team members, everything is connected. You can say the AI dispatcher if you want to allow overtime, capacity, fuel management, because let's say there is another case which Microsoft's field service doesn't support, where grease trap dispatching, where based on the capacity of your truck, for example you service a restaurant 12 at night, it fills your tank half, then you go to another location which it fills your tank 1/4, then you have third location which is going to fill your tank again half. That cannot be planned ultimately. What you need to do is before the third job or work order, you need to go to the depot, empty the tank, and then do the third one. So for this kind of dispatch process and route planning, this is what FieldCamp's AI dispatcher can do inside Microsoft's field service. Once the basic setup is done, it's pretty straightforward. So first of all, the Microsoft and FieldCamp sync is a two-way sync. So whatever happens in any of these platforms is going to end up in another platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Microsoft. I'm going to create a work order. I'm just going to create a simple work order. The priority is urgent. I need someone to do this repair, for example, and the customer account is going to be bean to cup machines, for example. I need to send someone there tomorrow from 8 a.m. to tomorrow at let's say 12 p.m. That's the timeline I need to send someone, and I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna save this work order. Once this work order is saved, it's gonna automatically land up in FieldCamp. And now I'm going to actually show you what the FieldCamp process looks like. And there is a few things you should know. This is just a basics 101 ultimately, but of course the entire process can be done at scale. In the following videos and later in this video, I'm going to show you how the scale can be achieved as well. But for now, we are just going to take this one work order example where we are going to try to find who is the best person to actually go and complete this work order. Now, as you can see in FieldCamp, I'm on the FieldCamp's dashboard. The jobs, which is the main screen, is the main thing that you are going to be looking at. The queue is the place where all the unscheduled work orders come in. From the queue, it moves to the AI dispatch tab, where the AI is going to suggest you who is the right person to go for this job. You can accept the suggestion, then it's confirmed and it goes back to the Microsoft Dynamics field service. Now, of course, you might be thinking that, hey Jill, every time do I have to come here? I'm going to have to push it through the AI dispatcher and then press confirm? No. After this, there are two steps. First of all, you are not going to be worrying about one-off work orders, because if it's of course an urgent repair, then you can just come here directly. You can create this job directly in FieldCamp. It's going to end up in Microsoft, or you can create one in Microsoft and as soon as a person is just going to assign it, it's going to end up in the confirm tab. But if you are a dispatcher, there is cases that by the time you come every single morning, you're going to have a dispatch board full of work orders coming from IoT sensors or service agreements, etc. Based on the timelines, calendar, etc. What you have to do is you just select those work orders in bulk ultimately, and this one is only one, but there's going to be hundreds of present over here, and I'm just going to say send to AI dispatch. And then what AI is going to do, AI is going to come up with a suggestion ultimately that who is the right person to go at this job, and it just told me that Jeremy is the right person to go at this job ultimately. And of course, when you're doing this at scale, it's going to come up with hundreds of suggestions, one for each one. You can head over to the schedule board where on a, let's say, calendar, you can see who is the person suggested, like this is the one. Now of course the reason that it didn't come up with the name was because most of my work orders in Microsoft, the setup is fully not complete, because it's just a trial account, but it shows the sample work orders without any client names. That's why it shows, for example, sample WO0031. That's why it shows without any name. But over here, it just came up with a suggestion, and once I accept this suggestion, it goes back to the Microsoft Dynamics. And if I want, I can also see the route views. So I'm here in SFO, for example, and I can see what routes has it been suggesting. I can click on the route map, and it's going to show me the route line based on the travel times and everything which is there. And I can go back to the job queue or the AI dispatch, and I'm just going to accept the suggestion. Once I accept it, it goes back to Microsoft, and now it's going to have a date, time, person suggested for this kind of a job. So let me just refresh this. Ultimately, it takes a few seconds initially. Now by the time we wait for it to complete syncing, for example, we can just take this another work order which is 45, and over here the AI dispatcher suggested Jill Patel should go. And ultimately for this one, which is 45, directly the suggestion came over here that Jill Patel is the person that should go on this time and date. This suggestion was based on routes, skills, certifications, territory, etc. Now imagine dispatching thousands of jobs like this, where ultimately you can just press one button based on routes, dispatch, etc., rather than you looking at scheduling board trying to go and figure out, hey, this person should go here, this person should go there, etc. The entire dispatcher, AI dispatcher by FieldCamp, will plan your entire schedule board based on various constraints which we talked about, and you don't need to manually drag and drop. You can just press one button and all the work orders will be automatically planned. Now of course there is ways of fully automating it. So now next videos I'm going to talk about agents and bulk dispatching, but what these agents can do. These agents can operate 24/7, and you can say every 15 minutes go and pull work orders from Microsoft Dynamics ultimately, and then put them through the AI dispatcher. So these agents can operate the AI dispatcher. Then you can say that if it looks good, the route is good, these are my constraints, then confirm it. It can confirm it, and by the time you wake up, your dispatch board is fully planned itself. So it is a fully autonomous AI dispatcher inside your Dynamics 365 field service. And it is just not dispatching, it can help in scheduling as well. Scheduling remote nurses, for example, to go to people's houses, or medical equipment delivery, vending machine repairs, etc. It is range of scheduling and dispatch automation, where if you are using the Dynamics 365 field service and you are using the work orders in schedule board, this is literally for you. You can have like one dispatcher doing the work of 10 dispatchers. Thank you.